For some reason, whenever I saw someone throwing knives in movies, I always felt like I could do it too. I would even say it felt natural to me, even though I never tried it. So I wanted to try it out and see if I was right. And so I decided to challenge myself to learn to throw knives until I could become almost as good as in movies. So first, I needed to buy some knives, so I bought 9 of them. I got out and I was ready to see if I was as good as I thought. And here is my first throw. Yeah, it seemed like I had a lot to learn. But as I expected, it wasn't so bad, because after just some throws, I managed to get it a little bit. So yeah, I wasn't so bad. But still, I had to practice a lot. So I started practicing, and on the first day, I already saw some progress, because I started being able to stick the knife in the target correctly sometimes. I didn't expect it to be so hard to stick it, no pun intended, but you will see how hard it is through this entire video. And by the way, as you can see during this entire video, the sound of the knives falling is a real pain every time. The only thing I was focusing on at the beginning was to stick the knife in the target and try to understand how to throw it consistently right. On the first week, I started to understand the different techniques I could use to throw it. The first technique was to throw the knife with a rotation. So I tried this a lot because I thought that would be the real life technique I would use if I had to use it in a war or something like that. Because with the rotation, you can throw it really fast and really precise. But the problem with the rotation technique is that it is so hard to hit the target with the right angle for the knife to penetrate and stick on the target. So I decided to try out a second technique, and the second technique was to throw the knife straight. But for that you need a certain technique. So what I did is I practiced my own technique and applied some principle that I saw in videos. Basically, the idea is to stop the knife from spinning with your finger and throw it straight with your arm. It's really hard to say this sentence for me.
Oh, je l'ai tellement bien lancé. Oh putain. Et oh là là, je défonce le carton.
The problem with this technique is that it's pretty hard to throw at a long distance. But don't fool yourself, you can still put a lot of power in it. So I started to practice this and I finally found a way to stick it in the target very consistently. But here, you still need to be very precise with your technique. But once I got it, it was like second nature and I was starting to miss less and less. It became really fun to do and I would even say it got almost addictive. I couldn't stop trying to get better at it. I practiced my different techniques a little bit every week and I did this for months. I was feeling limited by my material, even though I bought 9 knives to be able to shoot a lot of knives at the time, like I did when I learned to shoot a bow. But the thing is, I noticed that people in videos were using bigger and heavier knives for long throws, and it was much easier to stick them on the target from far. But I decided to stick with my knives and boxes and try my best with it. But one day I remembered a spot where I saw a log when I was walking in the forest, so I went back there to practice on it. So that day I decided to throw the only knife I had on me, which was a pocket knife. It had nothing to do with a throwing knife. And after all these months of practice, I got way better, but there is something I didn't tell you. I found out something really interesting, I think, and really cool. You will see. I one day understood the technique enough that I thought I could try it with other objects. And this is the fun part. I found out I could throw pretty much anything.
Oh yes. Avec de l'eau dedans. Enfin de folie. Et ça.
I mean, as long as it's kind of pointy, I could stick it and make a lot of damages. It was ridiculous, guys. And I'm even gonna ask you something. Do you think it's possible to throw a small stick of wood like this into the box and stick it? Well, I didn't think so, but it is. And I was stunned I could do it. I mean, this is so light and so unpractical to throw, but still I could do it. So yeah, that was great and unexpected. And then I decided to go out and try throwing knife at a tree, because I really thought that if I was good enough, I should be able to even pierce a strong tree bar. But trust me, it was 100 times harder than I thought it would. And I don't think that you thought about that, but the hardest thing in this was to find out where my knife ended up landing. Trust me, that was a pain in the ass. I sometimes even took half an hour looking for them in the grass. I mean, can you even find it? Well, look where it was. Yeah, and remember I had 9 of them to find. I mean 7, because at that point I already broke 2 of them after all this training. Anyways, I still managed to get some good shots at the tree and started trying out precision shots. I found some McDonald's cup and I started aiming at it, and I was getting really precise with every throw. I then went back on another day to my log in the woods, because it was the best target I had and I wanted to see if I was doing good or not. And I think I was doing pretty well at this point. I was starting to feel like a real ninja or something like that. And finally, I decided to consider my challenge over when I started to get this kind of precision shots on balloons from 12 meters. And my throws were getting really powerful and consistent and really precise. I mean, look at this. And I think that you can say now that I know how to throw knives like in movies. But if I could pick, my weapon of choice would be a bow.